New JD Vance in 2021. We have to go to war against the idea that women don't have to have kids. He really wants to lock women up and turn them into fucking baby incubators straight up. New poll drop. Yeah. Harris has wiped out Trump's lead across 7 swing states in the latest round of the Bloomberg News Morning Consult poll. The poll found a big damn lead in Michigan, a more modest Trump lead in Pennsylvania, and close contests everywhere else. Dead heat. Every 4 years, you'll be getting a new crop of youth voting, and you'll perpetually have to explain the same busted-ass electoral system forever. Potentially. You don't want me chirping about Kamala Harris, okay? Or chirping about fucking ride or die Dems, because my issue with Joe Biden isn't just that he's fucking old, okay? There's plenty of other things that I had issues with Joe Biden and openly said I would never vote for Joe Biden. But if you think that that was the only reason, because he was old, you're wrong. If you come in here and chirp at me for not being sufficiently pro Kamala and being in the tank for Kamala, I'm gonna fucking criticize Kamala Harris. Don't you know that not voting for Kamala will cost her the election in California? No, it's not even that. I'm not even saying that. Even if I lived in a fucking swing state, I would be saying the same shit. It doesn't matter where you live. What matters is your politicians making assurances to earn your vote. This is a fundamental principle in democracy, okay? You make this calculation. I think it's fucking insane to be like, no, shut the fuck up and vote. Put your head down and vote. And that's not how people vote anyway. Even if you do, even if you fucking vote that way, okay, other people don't. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hard I chirp. If I could swing votes in any direction in a meaningful capacity, if I had that fucking power, okay, if I could go up against multi-billion dollars in campaign fundraising and multi-billion dollars in free and earned media from mainstream media, okay, right now Bernie Sanders would be president and we would have abolished term limits so that he could be president again. I do not have this power. If I had this power, Hillary Clinton would have been president in 2016. I recognize the writing on the wall with Donald Trump in 2016, and I urge people to go out and vote for Hillary Clinton, okay? It didn't fucking work. Didn't work at all. I was with her. I'm still with her. Fuck it. Make Hillary Clinton the nominee. Looks like the polls in Michigan reflect what I stated about the undecided voters. Nothing. Noting making the same statement in the general election. What? I'm not in the fucking tank for the Democratic Party across the board. I need you to understand. I'm not a vote blue no matter who guy. I'm not in the fucking tank for the Dems. I have my own positions, and I have never shied from criticizing the Democratic Party, even if it's an election, even if it's not an election. Just because you're paying attention to shit that's happening right now because the election cycle has started and now you're interested again, doesn't change my positions. It's just you're saying you don't want Trump to win, but isn't the only way for Trump not to win is to vote for Kamala? I don't get it. Yes, but you do understand, I hope, that there is nothing I can do personally, okay, unless, I guess, like, seemingly the Democratic Party listens to the things I'm saying, which is laughable. It's not going to happen, okay? My point has always been that politicians have to earn your fucking vote. And if they don't do that, if they actually operate on this idea that, like, it's just lesser evil voting, it's just harm reduction over and over again, in every election cycle, they will not work to earn your vote. And therefore, many people, a plurality of voters that don't go out and vote, will continue to not go out and vote. That's my point. This is the most important election for our lifetime, just like 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2028, 2032, 2036. Yeah, it's always the most important election. That was the Hillary problem. Just vote for me. I'm the only choice. Exactly. And it was objectively a bad way to run a campaign. And it failed because a lot of people have peasant brain. A lot of Americans have peasant mentality. Okay. We fancy ourselves to be revolutionary figures that dump tea. Okay. We think, no, we're all fucking big, bold, brave patriots at the end of the day. We're revolutionary figures at the end of the day. But a lot of us have fucking peasant mentality. The idea that you resort to, my lord, my vote is for you, my lord. If not, the other leader will be much, much worse, my lord. You can do whatever you want. That's undemocratic. That is not how democracy works. That's not how it should work. The entire principle The entire principle behind the democratic process is that politicians are supposed to come to you and say, what do you want? I got you. But a lot of people operate on the assumption that, like, no, there's nothing we can do to change. There's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of American politics. And therefore, we just vote for one God King over the other. That's not how this works. Maybe I'm crazy, but I never fucking hear Republicans running around and being like, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you want America to be homosexual. If you don't vote for Donald Trump, you want every American to be raped by Guatemalan migrants or whatever. They don't do that. No, they don't. They don't do that. You want to know why they don't do that? Because Republicans do actively try to brainwash their fucking audience and also simultaneously, like, run on positions that the captured audience members are actually advocating for. They're so fucking clued in on their base that they literally do things that hurt them politically, including banning fucking abortion. Like, they're so captured by certain parts of their base of voters, like the evangelical Christians, that they've literally launched like 40-year fucking projects that successfully rip bodily autonomy from women. You're right about hogs usually, but you're way off on the mark on this. No, okay. I didn't represent my position appropriately. Okay. The Republican Party actively gets their agenda done, no matter how awful it is. The Democratic Party doesn't, no matter how good it is. Okay? You're misunderstanding, but that's my fault. I will take ownership over my lack of effective communication on this. The Republican Party listens to their base, and no matter how fucking ride or die or how insane those policies are, they will push for it. Think about it this way. There are enough people in the base of support for the Republican Party that are so aggressive on the issue of arming Americans that the Republican Party will actively push for legislation that, like, allows ammunition vending machines near fucking schools. Or the Republican Party actively was running on arming teachers after the Parkland school shooting. The Republicans literally look to their base and go, oh, these guys are fucking crazy, but we'll give them what they want. Fuck it. Who cares? They give their different constituencies what they want and they push for it. And they don't just campaign every 4 years. They campaign every day. They campaign every day for 4 years. They campaign constantly. They're always on message. Democrats completely cast aside all this shit when they're in power and only remember that, like, oh shit, we are running for election. We're running for re-election. Oops, time to fucking dial it up a little bit. And then a lot of people just eat it up. A lot of people in this community even seemingly eat that shit up. And then they turn around and posture like a vote for the Democratic Party is actually going to make abortion legal in the country, or somehow simultaneously defeat the Supreme Court supermajority. And it's odd. And I don't want the Republican Party to win, which is why I keep saying that the Democratic Party needs to do more, especially because when they do things, when they do progressive legislation, then the reactionary Republicans fight against that. Here's how it works. I'm going to pull a paint. Let's say this is the American political spectrum. Okay, this is max communism, and this is Nazi. Okay, if this is the peak, okay, this is the peak of like where you can go in American politics. You push further and further right, you inevitably arrive at Nazi policies. You push further and further left, you inevitably arrive at, you know, full-blown false dichotomy. It's not. It's reductive, but it's not a false dichotomy at all. So here's how this works. Okay? Here's how this works. The Republican Party, let's do that with red, is like around here. And every year they go, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, they were here and now they're here. Okay. And they keep pushing the needle. They keep pushing it over and over again. The Democratic Party can respond to that when they are in power. If the Democratic Party is like here, okay, the Democratic Party could pull back and potentially take back some of the reductions in civil liberties that the Republican Party has advocated for and successfully carried across the finish line. All right. They can do that. But if they want to do that, they have to literally go here so they can pull the Republican Party more to the left. Okay. The issue, however, is that the exact opposite happens. The Republican Party goes further right, and the Democratic Party goes further right alongside them. The greatest example of this in terms of domestic policy is on immigration. The Democratic Party in 2020, under the leadership of Biden, ran to the left of the Republican Party on immigration. They said that they were going to change. They said that they were here. They said that they were going to change in the first 100 days of Biden's agenda, that they were going to change immigration, change the course of immigration, and actually actively pull the country and actively pull the Republican Party to the left on immigration. They were going to fix the processing issues and whatnot. They didn't do that. Okay. They actively did not allow. They actively did not counter message against the Republican Party. The Republican Party never stopped pushing the narrative that immigrants are rapists and murderers and drug dealers, and maybe some of them are very fine people on both sides. Okay. So the country went further and further right, and it's an untested, uncontested narrative. So what did the Democrats do? The Democrats turned around and went more right on immigration and arrived here at the 2020 position of the Republican Party. What the 2020 position of the Republican Party on immigration, what the 2020 position on the Republican Party on immigration was, building the wall, and being more restrictive on immigration, literally became the Democratic Party's position in 2024. Okay? This is what is known as the ratchet effect. This is why you don't hear from the vote blue no matter who chirpers about how if you don't vote for the Democrats, you want kids in cages and you want migrants to be fucking murdered. They don't say that anymore because they can't say that anymore because the Democratic Party changed its position on migrants in cages. They are now pro at least 2020 migrants in cages. The Republicans, but remember, the Republicans even pushed the needle further. Now they're talking about mass deportation. However, on this front, Democrats could do this exact same thing. Democrats could actively push the Republican Party to the left on certain issues. As a matter of fact, on certain fronts, Donald Trump kind of did do that, where the Republican Party's overarching policy positions were always genuinely anti-social spending. Donald Trump kind of cast that aside. And said, he gave the stimmy checks during COVID, and he even ran on and still runs on not touching Social Security. Okay. Why? Because the entire country is like, the fuck do you mean Social Security? If you cut Social Security, that's insane. All the voters are old. They're going to fucking lose their minds. So the Republican Party was pulled on Social Security, at least in the top of the ticket. Okay. The Democratic Party, and Megaphonics is right on this, focusing on Project 2025 forced the Trump campaign to cut Project 2025. The Democratic Party actively advocating against what the Republican Party has done on the issue of abortion has caused at least some of the Republicans at the top of the ticket to try to moderate their stances on abortion. This is because right-wing reactionaries are reactionaries. That's it. They react. So you have to give them something to react to. If you don't give them something to react to and you let them fucking ride on their narrative that is uncontested, like on the issue of immigration, then they will go further and further right until they're here. Okay? And when 2028 comes around and the Democrats have now gotten here, they will be the ones advocating for mass deportations. Okay? The Dems will move here. That's where the Republicans are right now on 2028, where they are the ones who are advocating for mass deportations, and the Republicans are the ones who are advocating for mass murder. Okay? So one of my active criticisms on this issue has always been that the Democrats don't launch a strong enough opposition to the Republican messaging on this front. And that is how they allow the Republican Party to push the conversation on things that are pivotal, things that are very important, like immigration, to become completely captured by the right. They capitulate to right-wing framing on immigration. And it's not just the Democratic Party that does this. Liberals across the board in the Western world do this all the fucking time. Labor Party did it as well. You could say the same thing in the other direction too. The Republican platform will need to change if they lose the Dems every time. Yes, that is correct. That's why I like fighters like Walt or even Bashar to a certain degree. Uncompromising Dems that are objectively popular in their states as governors who have consistently advocated for better leftist economic policies are popular for that reason, because people do believe in them. Why does the Democratic Party work against itself? 2024 isn't different from 2020 or 2016. We know how the Republicans operate, and that hasn't changed. As much as they may dislike it, the Republicans are unified as a party no, they're not unified as a party. You're wrong. And consistently campaign, whereas the Democrats are divided and forget that campaign is necessary, yet act surprised when they're losing every year. And this isn't just a 2020 thing. It's happening in local elections too. The Republicans are not exactly unified either. I mean, that's why Joe Biden was able to actively campaign for the mythical moderate and independent voters that are living in the suburbs and whatnot. Because Donald Trump is so gross and so weird in the way that he advocates for crazy shit that he was repulsive to a lot of people living in the fucking suburbs. What is this? This is where the VP will take the stage this evening. Her first rally in this battleground state is launching her campaign. I mean, dude, I'd go to a fucking free Megan Thee Stallion concert too. You know what I'm saying? Like,